Mango Delight, Chapter 3, Part 2. Mango just found out that Brooke, her bestie, who usually waits for her by her locker before they go to the lunchroom, was already in the lunchroom with their enemy, Haley Joanne. I wasn't surprised as I entered the cafeteria and saw Brooke at the Cell Bells table with Haley Joanne and her crew. None of them were looking at each other. All eyes were in their laps where they were keeping their phones out of sight. There was a no cell phone use rule in school, but clever girls like Haley Joanne and her crew would find ways around those rules. In the restroom, locker room, in between bookshelves in the media center, or under the bleachers behind the gymnasium. The teachers weren't very strict about enforcing the rules against phone felons anyway, because they were always sneaking to check their phones too. At the table, the girls' thumbs were busy blazing across their keyboards. Brooke was laughing at something on her screen when she saw me and waved me over. "Hey, what took you so long?" "I was waiting for you by the lockers," I said, a little snootier than I intended. "Sorry," Brooke said. "I wanted to eat fast so I'd have time to hang out by the bleachers and mess around with my new phone." Haley Joanne lifted her pelican jaw and looked down her nose at me. "Don't get an attitude just because you still communicate with smoke signals." All her crew laughed, including Brooke. I took a deep breath, hoping a real cutting response would snap into my head. I wanted to put her down, put her in her place, and remind Brooke of how we felt about Hateful Joe. But the only thing that came out of my mouth was, "Whatever." Haley Joanne made the kind of frowning face adults make at toddlers who hurt themselves and are about to cry. "Oh, poor Mango. Sprite is full of herself just because she finally won a race yesterday." All of the Cell Bells howled, and no one was louder than their newest member, Brooklyn Manelli, my ex-bestie. I didn't want to cry in front of a table full of mean girls. I am definitely not the crying type. Boo-hooing now would be like throwing gasoline and a lit match on a pile of thirsty twigs. So I turned and ran out of the cafeteria. I know, how dramatic. But I couldn't help myself. I had to hide before my heart fell out of my chest and broke into a million pieces on the floor, which the mean girls, no doubt, would take pleasure in kicking all around the cafeteria. I headed for the nurse's office to pretend I was sick and get a pass home. Unfortunately, as I turned a corner, I saw Ms. Lipschultz still on patrol, so I ducked into the girls' bathroom and hid in a stall. I sat on the toilet, put my head between my legs, and took deep breaths. Even though I was all alone now, I still didn't want to cry. I'm not one of those super emotional types who cries whenever the wind blows. Once Dada told me that Mom's sister, Aunt Zendaya, told him that Mom didn't even cry when she found out she had to lose a leg. I wanted to be like Mom, strong and dry-eyed no matter what. So I sucked in a deep breath and concentrated on my recipe for tuna salad, which Dad said is the best he's ever tasted. I use mayonnaise, Dijon mustard, boiled eggs, pickle relish, spring onions, chopped pimentos, capers, and of course, canned tuna in water. Then I add a dash of cayenne pepper. Not enough to make it too spicy, but just enough to give it a little kick. And a pinch or two of salt and pepper, and voila, the best tuna salad in the world. My eyes were still dry when I heard the door to the bathroom open. From under the stall, I saw two pairs of shoes, pink patent leather with a low heel and lime green running shoes. I recognized those shoes immediately. It was Brooke and Haley Joanne. I could hear the click-click of their cell phones. They were texting. I slowly and quietly lifted my feet onto the toilet seat. I would die if they knew I was in there trying not to cry. I held my breath, hoping neither of them would open the door to the stall because I'd forgotten to slide the latch and lock it. All of a sudden, there was a huge burst of laughter, and Haley Joanne spurted, OMGZ, Brooklyn Manelli, you are the new queen of mean. I have to bow down. Laughing, Brooklyn said, No, you are. You're the queen. Just then, the bathroom door flew open. One of the cell bells rushed in and shouted, Lipschultz is right behind me. I heard 2 thunks and then quiet as Ms. Lipschultz entered. What are you girls up to? Are you using your phones in here? I'm not, Haley Joanne protested. I don't even have my phone with me. You could check my backpack. I put mine in my locker so I wouldn't be tempted to look at it in class, Brooklyn added sweetly. Well, all right, Miss Lipschultz said. On your way, now, unless you need to use the facilities. I watched the shoes of the 3 girls leave the bathroom, followed by Ms. Lipschultz. I let my feet drop to the floor and hunched over. Had my bestie truly gone over to the dark side? Was she now proud of being cruel? No, I thought to myself, that couldn't be true. I would just have to get Brooke alone and talk some sense into her. She was a good person inside. A little thing like a phone, even though it was a big deal, couldn't have changed the girl so completely and so fast. I left the stall and went to the sink and turned on the faucet. I started filling the basin, planning to splash some cool water on my face, when I heard tweet, tweety, tweet. I looked around. I was the only one in the lavatory. Where had the sound come from? Then tweet, tweety, tweet again. The alert was coming from the wastebasket. Leaving the water running, I moved toward the wastebasket, lifted the lid, and there, lying amongst of crumpled paper towels, were 2 bedazzled animal print cell phones. I reached in and picked up Brooks's phone, the one with the leopard print. The screen was lit, having just received a text message that said, OMG, that was close. I couldn't help myself. I knew it was wrong, but I used my finger to scroll and read some of Brooks's earlier messages. H. Haley Joe. Mongo is jealous because you have a phone and she doesn't. Brooke. I know. Haley Joe. Now that you've upgraded a phone, you need to upgrade your friends. Brooke. Lol. Haley Joe. Let's make sure we leave her in the dust at GOT today. Brooke. Yeah, one win went to her head. Haley Joe. So true. It was luck that she won yesterday. Brooke. You're so right. She probably couldn't win a race with her peg-legged mother if her life depended on it. Haley Joe. Rolling on the floor laughing. The sound of water filling the sink was drowned out by the bell. Lunch period was over. I could hear the noise of the kids heading for class, but I couldn't move. My lungs were paralyzed. My best friend in the whole wide world had just done the most unforgivable thing ever. She made fun of my mother. Brooklyn Manelli really was the queen of mean. My hands began to shake. I nearly jumped out of my skin when the bathroom door suddenly flew open. And that's how the phone slipped from my hands into the sink full of cold water. Brooke, standing at the door, screamed as we watched her brand new phone drown. That's the end of chapter 3. Come back for chapter 4. Bye.